And with that, should be able to come over here, go to Warframes, and yes, Systems, Chassis, Neuroptics, Blueprint. Speaking of, the Systems is Neo A3 relic, the Neuroptics is the Axi A6 relic, the Chassis is the Meso A3 relic, and the Blueprint itself is the Neo A3 relic. Nothing really. Oh, there's 2 Argon crystals, 2 Niatan extract. Actually, nothing in here that really requires too much. The Argon crystals, just go to the Void. The Tellurium, you've got to go to Space Force, sadly. Night extract, you have to do Nightwave stuff for, because that's the only place to really get them at the minute. Or the easiest way to get them at the minute, I should say. And this has got to be a first. 25 extra armor, 25 extra energy, 75 extra health, 50 extra shields, and 0.1 extra... He has a buff to everything. Has no mod in the... no polarity in the Exiler slot, I have already checked. Comes with 2 Vs, a dash, and a D. And because his aura is a V, it means that it's kind of a no-brainer that Steel Charge has to go in here. Meaning that he has a maximum mod capacity of 78. There's the 60 the frame comes with if you put a reactor in, and then the extra 18 from that mod, meaning that, well, you really don't need to former him at all. 2 Vs, a dash, and a D. You can get well over 200 power strength from him without having to really do much at all. It's also just Atlas. What can be said really about Atlas Prime that hasn't been said about Atlas? His abilities work the same. Landslide, his first ability, you basically just summon rocks around your fist and you punch enemies to death. It's actually really effective, sometimes way better than a melee weapon. Tectonics, there was an update after this came out that said that added the prime effect to Tectonics. Just don't say it really. The big letdown to him is his abilities and the lack of prime. We'll get onto that in a bit, but summon a wall, activate it again to send it towards enemies, can have a chance of knocking them over, doesn't deal a great amount of damage. It does have an explosion radius. I'm trying to remember what it is offhand. I think the radius is about 5 meters. The damage is about 500 impact when you hit them. It's also not the best. Petrify is where you start to get into the great aspect of him. You can freeze pretty much any enemy, and if you do top this off with Landslide, so if you punch the petrified enemies, that is when that little meter in the bottom right starts to go up, and you can have up to 1,500 extra armor. Really handy to have that up as much as you can, as long as you can, but I kept forgetting how this worked while using him, so kept summoning this, or freezing the enemies and then shooting them instead of using Landslide, his first ability, to gain the extra armor. It kind of puts the rubble on you. I think it's literally refers to it as a healing rubble that can, I'm not going to say heal you, but that added armor is really useful. So Petrify to freeze them, Landslide to knock them out, or end them, and gain extra armor. Really kind of useful. And his last ability, Rumblers, summons 2 elemental stone brawlers that will melee enemies. These, again, they're not the best of abilities. They are great if there's a lot of people around. They will deal a bit of damage, they will also knock them over, and it gives them something else to worry about, while of course you are concentrating on other things. Not just that, but when they do collapse into a pile of rubble, again, it's this healing rubble that it seems to be what his armor and health regen are all about. His passive, becoming immune to knockdown effects while on the ground, seems kind of silly, because He's immune to knockdown. Nothing in this game is 100% immune to knockdown, as has been demonstrated many times in the past. He can still be knocked down, he just has, it's something like a 99.99% chance that he will resist the knockdown, but there's also that slim chance that when running through a laser he'll be knocked down, or it basically, the way that that works is the game thinks that you're off the floor, so the knockdown resistance kind of disappears because his passive is becoming immune to knockdown, is only effective when he's on the ground, same with some of the other knockdown resistance stuff. So as soon as you leave the ground, run over a crack in the floor, whatever causes it, he will still get knocked down. So it's not immune to knockdown, it's like a 99.99% chance he won't be knocked down, which is where he becomes a pretty decent frame. The fact that they kind of upgraded his sprint speed from 0.9 to 1.0 is actually kind of a huge thing, because it makes him quicker. Not as quick as a lot of the other frames, but it means that you can forego putting the sprint speed mod in here, meaning that you don't need to do a great deal of work to him to get him to be a good frame. Coming with 4 polarities already in there, a D, a dash and 2 Vs, you don't really need to former him to get any kind of decent build on him, because steel charge, 78 mod capacity with a reactor, yeah, more than enough to put a really good build on him without any use of a former. But if you do want to, you can. It just depends how you want to go as to what you want to do, but I managed to get, 224% power strength isn't exactly a small amount. I'm just not going to say what it is because I'm torn whether I actually want to polarize him in the future or not. But with primed continuity, primed flow and using vigor instead of a health or shield mod, should probably go for a health mod instead of prime vigor, but I threw that in there to level him, and it literally just depends if you're going for a duration build, a range build, or a power strength build as to how you want to do this. I kind of went for a strength build over anything else, and it's not the best, I could go better, but it'll do for now. But we're not talking about builds in this. He is actually a pretty decent prime frame, so we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.